Hello there, you're watching and listening to another Scoutcast from fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. My name's Andy.
My name's John T.
My name's Az.
Welcome, gentlemen. As you can see, it's all changed tonight. Originally, it was supposed to be, I think, me and John T, Luke and Mark. Unfortunately, Mark's had cat problems. Luke's had kid problems. So Az has kindly stepped in, the hero he is. And how's it going tonight?
It's good.
Good. And Johnny, yourself?
Yeah, it's really good. I thought we were going to have about 7 or 8 of us on here, but everyone just dipped out one by one. First, we had Mark. His wife is a vet. His partner's a vet, and she got. It's terrible to laugh. No, I shouldn't laugh really. But basically, a cat. Apparently, she was seeing to like grabbed onto her arm, and it was like, I don't know, just waving. So she's had to go to hospital. It's horrendous stuff, really. So and then Granville came on, said, "No, I'm too tired." I looked at his score this week and realised why he was tired, and then Luke came on and said that he's had kid issues. So it's just
luckily I have no life, so
nor do we.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like Granville, I also had a bad week, but we'll put off getting to that. So do you want to take us through what we're going to talk about before I go through an awful week?
Yes, so for good and bad, City rotation. Everyone wants to talk about that. See if we can somehow second guess Pep. Kane and his remarkable season so far. March of the midfielders, they're back. Liverpool players, Watford players, and plus the usual rough with the smooth. Got a lot of roughs actually this week. And then a look ahead to next week. Fancy analysts and clean sheets.
Good stuff. Well, we'll start, as always, with the game weeks. I think even though they're not here, we'll give them a special mention because Luke and Mark scored really well this week. So Luke scored 89. I think he bought in Aguero for Jesus. Is that right? Reading it yet? Yeah,
definitely.
He captained Kane. He said on Twitter before the game, he said, "You just got to put it on him. He's going to score sometimes. He's going to not score other times." And obviously went ahead and did that. Otamendi and Van Dijk as well. Really good picks there. And Mark, same, had Otamendi, bought in Hazard for Ali, which obviously didn't go quite so well, but overall scored 83. Also captain Kane. So it was really anyone who captained Kane this week, I think, did really well. And you did pretty good too, Az, right?
So I wildcarded. And I think the interesting thing about my wildcard was not who I sort of changed around, but who I actually left in. So I left in Salah, Gross, Kane, who I very nearly switched to Lukaku at the last minute, but luckily I stayed with him. Kept Otamendi, and I was close to switching him out for Walker. And the players I bought in didn't actually do very well. So Richarlison was the only new player who I got who actually scored many points. I bought in Fernandes, who scored an own goal. And things like that. But the main thing was the change in the dynamic of my team. So I've gone from the 4 big hitters at the back, the 4 wing backs I've been going on about all season. I've gone to 3 heavies up front. So I bought in Aguero and captained him, who scored. So I was happy with that. Morata looked completely off the pace, but I think he's gonna come back into the goal soon. So I'm happy to have him. I've made a lot of team value. So I think 0.6 or 0.7. Swapped out Davey, so I think it's going to get rotated. So my old team would have scored 74. My current team scored 72. But I've got a much better team going forward. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, and as we always say, it's not just about the first week, it's all the preceding weeks. I'm actually really regretting not really regretting, but a little bit of regret all those weeks where I put down Gross, and ever since then he just seems to assist every week. I obviously got that completely wrong. And we'll come on to, I was going to make some kind of jam pun, but I couldn't think of any jam brands, so we'll just come on to Mr. Jammy himself.
Well, no, I'm just jammy. So, I'm going to fess up. So I captained Sterling, massive, sad face there. And then Kane, vice-captain, massive happy face. So I went from something like 22 points to 59 into the top 100k for the first time. Lovely green arrow. And the transfer was saved. I'm one of those lucky ones. We've got a few more, we're saying rough with a smooth. I've got a couple of clean sheets as well, Cedric and Elliot. So some newcomers there from the wild card. But I just wanted to say, for those who've got a longer memory in fantasy football, lots of us got some jammy Kane captaincy points, but this isn't the jammiest there's been. And the particular one that I had, and many others had as well, was a game when Chelsea were playing Villa, and they beat them 7-1. Lampard scored 4 and got 25 points. And many, like me, that match had Drogba, who was on the bench, and it was very, very nerve-wracking waiting for him to come on. So this one was a bit different. So at that time, I was waiting for Drogba to come on, and he didn't in the end, which was great. But this time, I knew that Kane was my captain anyway. And I was kind of, well, obviously I didn't captain him in the first place, so I wasn't expecting a lot. But I did vice captain him, so I guess I thought, he's kind of next best. But I wasn't expecting that. I really feared for him at Wembley. So, yeah, I'm a very happy, jammy lad.
And Andy, you called it, didn't you, last week, saying Sterling captains, what are we doing?
Yeah, it was just, I even said it on, I think, Saturday morning on Twitter. I was just like, everyone, we have Captain Sterling. That's actually a thing right now. My story is kind of the opposite, really. I went from the logic of, should I really captain rotation risk to, well, they can't both be rotated, can they? So I captain Sterling, vice captain Jesus, and I think a few people were in that situation. I'm sure there's some roughs with the same story. But yeah, obviously Jesus came on for the last 10, 15 minutes, didn't get anything. From what I saw, he missed a complete sitter, or probably should have scored, but it's just the way it is. And I did think about vice captain and Kane, but like I said, I just thought not both of them are going to miss out. I thought one might, but probably didn't take into account Bernardo Silva enough. And other than that, nothing happened really. Still haven't had a Jamie Vardy goal. That I won't say what I really think about that because I get told off by Mark for the language. But I actually only played 10 men this week because I had Sutner, and not knowing too much about Brighton, I thought, well, he's back in the team after last week. But from what I've now been told by Jonty and other Brighton fans, it seems like he's missing out on the away games and playing the home ones. So I only had 10 men. Davis didn't play, and it was an awful week. And I've not hit the wildcard button yet this week, but I'm thinking about it for sure. So, yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I mean, you had a bad week, but luckily Granville had a worse one. So you're not bottom of the pile this week. So just wanted to say Granville got 40 and he got Aguero in for Kane. Decided he had enough.
I saw that.
Had enough for Kane and thought, I'll get Aguero in. And he captained Sterling and, never rains with pause. And Jesus was his vice captain. And he was quite keen to come on because he wanted to rage. He said, I've got 5 players unexpectedly blanked. So, I can guess some of them. But, so he generally did want to come on.
Yeah, no, he did say earlier. And to be fair, he wasn't the only one who was thinking about getting rid of Kane last week, but he was the only one that went through with it.
I had the transfer ready to confirm. I didn't have enough time. If I'd had another 10 minutes, I probably would have done it. I was Lukaku for 1 week and then bring Kane back after the United game. And I just ran out of time, so just didn't do it. Honestly, it's the only reason why I didn't get rid of him. But
it's just how it happens, though. It's just fine. Like I said last week, roller coaster. I said after your awful week last week, I can easily switch this week, and it's exactly what happened. But hopefully, there's some roughs that are even worse than mine. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, well, let's go with the roughs first. Weirdly, this is when I asked for the roughs and with the smooth or and the smooths, no one who had a good score was willing to fess up. I had to really search through. So let's go with the roughs first. So Kings of Leon, he had a nightmare wildcards. He wildcarded out Ramsey, Sanchez, Kane, Cedric, Richie, Maradona, Pele, Beckham, you name it. He wildcarded anyone who was any good out. And so complete nightmare. Vincent Tatis and Galana, they were 2 of many who actually took out Ramsey and Kane for a hit to bring in Sterling and Aguero, and so they're 25 points down on that deal. And Perlo's pen transferred Ali out for Sterling, who he captained, and never rains but it pours. There's Jesus as the vice captain. Apple Bonkers took out Kane for Lukaku, and then to compound matters, he then took a little cheeky punt on Martial, who did absolutely nothing. In fact, he was one of the worst players on the pitch for Manchester United. And Fred the Red. Last week, he got 21 points. Ooh, that's bad. So he I'm going to say rage wildcarded, let's say it. Out Kane, Ali, Hazard for Manchester City triple up of Jesus, Silva and Sterling. What can go wrong? But there was a few that went right. There's a few fellow. I know it makes everyone feel better. But fellow Sterling captain and Kane vice captainers, Karen 14, Red Devil and Bald Eagle. Well done for your outrageous luck there. And old school, he had a Takore first sub come on for Sutner. So he's got a good squad there clearly. So good bench. And desperately seeking Duzen. Another great week to be a Shane Duffy owner, he was saying. So subbed off the previous week before Brighton conceded. And this week he had him on the bench to come on for Ben Davis. So Shane Duffy's a bit of a lucky player at the moment. And trust John, he got 5 clean sheets. It's the first time he's ever got that. So 5 clean sheets about all 4 defenders and goalie. So he got about 40 points across his back line in total. So yeah, well done, Trust John.
I mean, that's impressive. 5 clean sheets. My 5 defenders now. Fair enough. I've got one that just sits on the bench, doesn't even play, but they got 2 points, and he's cleared up with 5 clean sheets. That's just how.
And he had Otamendi by the looks of it, because he said he had a goal there. So I suspect that was Otamendi. So. And
there's some unlucky, I'd say, roughs there. Like Ramsey, from what I've seen, his stats are pretty good, but. Fair enough, I think, getting rid of him. Sanchez seems like a lot of money. I'm sure we'll talk about that soon. But yeah, unlucky rush there. But yeah, talking to Man City, let's move on to them. Like you said, rotation nightmare, right?
Yeah, it's complete. Well, I mean, we all call out there. I mean, myself had Sterling, Jesus, and Silva. I mean, Silva played, but so yeah, what's the matter? Jesus or Aguero, and or should we get 2 midfielders in? I'm thinking they're Silva and Kevin De Bruyne. And Otamendi, and just forget about the strikers. Just accept they're going to be rotated. Teddy Bruschi, is it too much of a risk to captain a City player now? That's the big lesson that many might have learned there. So should we always go for 100% nailed on starter, i.e. Mr. Kane? Irfan M66, are Silva and KDB safe from rotation? They didn't play tonight, so that would indicate they didn't play tonight in the League Cup, so that may indicate they are. And Zan Karowski, can we ever risk captaining a City player again after last week's debacle of the team sheet there? So I just before we come to you, Az, on this one, I just wanted to see who is nailed on. So I just very quickly just had a look on the FPL site, first minutes played for Man City. And this pretty much, it just shows you who is nailed on. Otamendi, absolutely nailed on. Yes. David Silva, very much nailed on. He has played them all. Fernandinho, not a great fantasy asset, but nevertheless nailed on. Then you got the goalkeeper, Ederson. And then De Bruyne, who is similar starts to Silva, but he's getting hooked a bit early. That's it. And then the rest, well, take your pick. They're way down. Aguero's 200 minutes, nearly 300 minutes down on Otamendi. And then Jesus, similar there. So, yeah, lots of rotation. But those top ones I mentioned do look like they're safe. So, Az, what do you think? What do we do with City now? Who do we get in? Who do we trust? And can you ever put the armband on one of them?
It's really tough, isn't it? Because at the start of the season, they were kind of not grinding out results, but they weren't flattening teams. They had that kind of lucky win against Bournemouth. They won 2-0 against Brighton, but a lot of huffing and puffing in that game. And you kind of felt you could maybe go without a City player or just get in Silva and kind of, pick up the odd assist here and there and sort of be happy with it. But now they're winning games by this much. We've talked about it last week and in previous weeks. It just seems that 2 attackers is just seems essential to me. And when you look at them, there is apart from De Bruyne and Silva, who I'm amazed Silva has played so many games. I mean, I do rate him; he's a fantastic player. But I thought with the other Silva coming in, I thought they were kind of like for like switches, and they could kind of just be interchange. But it hasn't worked out like that at all. We definitely trust David more than Bernardo. So the way I'm looking at it is, do I want to pay 10 million for a deep playmaker in KDB who is starting to pick up points, but I don't think I'd feel too comfortable captaining? Or do I want to spread the risk with a couple of cheaper mids and then go for Aguero or Jesus up top? I think Aguero is not safe, but he is their best. To me, him and De Bruyne are their best players. So I don't see how Pep can not play him in the majority of the games. I know he's got Jesus who can come in, but I just feel like Aguero's done everything Pep wants him to do, and he seems to be the main man up front. So I'm very happy having Aguero, and then I think it's going to be Jesus and Sterling who are the 2 risky ones. So I think they're the ones that are going to be kind of switched around. So I've got Sterling. I'm expecting to play one every 2 games, 1 every 3 games. Is that good enough for 8 million? But when he does play, he gets 16 points. It's really tough. I don't have an answer. It's an awful conundrum. I wouldn't captain any of them. I'll tell you that.
And what about you, Andy?
Yeah, I'm really struggling for this, and Man City players are just one of a number of reasons why I'm so hesitant to hit the wildcard button. Because when they're beating teams 5 and 6-0 week in, week out, then you have to have some of their players because they're all performing well. Just obviously the problem is, like we're trying to answer here, is which one's going to play well. And I kind of agree that before the injury, I think Aguero was the one I was starting to look at wanting to bring in. Obviously, then he got injured, and then we wondered how long he was going to come back. He's come straight back pretty much. But now, like tonight, it looks like he's going to play all 120 minutes. So does that mean he's not going to play? Jesus has played most of the minutes as well. He's gone off now. I've got Sterling and Jesus, and I think with Man City attackers, apart from maybe Silva and De Bruyne, like we said, you've got to have the thought of they will get rotated. The problem I have now is if Sterling plays 120 minutes tonight and misses a game, 2 in a row, that's not good enough for me. If he's going to miss 1 every 4 or 5 games, then maybe I'm okay with that. But if he's going to miss 2 in a row now, and I've already got that thought in my head, and I had a little rant about it at the start of the season when we all had De Bruyne, and I just felt that Pep was going to rotate. He was playing like square pegs in round holes. And so now I feel like I'm back. But it's a bit of a knee-jerk because last week I was all for them. They did well for me. I was really happy about it. So I don't want to knee-jerk them out. But if I wildcard, I think I'll only have 2 maximum, and 1 will be a defender, Otamendi. The midfielder I probably want now is Silva because he looks most nailed on. And if I go for a striker, it'll probably be Aguero. But I don't know if I want to spend that extra money. It's funny, we've got a question coming up later on about 4-5-1 with just Kane. And I've thought about that, to be honest. So I don't know what you think, Johnny. For me, it now looks like Sané's going to play now. And before, none of us were really considering him. He started the last 2. Looks like he's probably going to start the next one as well. I just don't know if I want to carry Sterling for that long. Like, say, 2 games in a row is annoying. 1 every 4 is not so bad. Yeah,
this goes beyond. It takes me out of my comfort zone of the first rule of fantasy football: pick nailed on players. And also, it's not something you can look at with stats. They're all good. They've all, you don't. David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne are the creators. Aguero, Sané, Sterling, Jesus are the scorers. We know that. We know that they can hammer teams. So you do want them. I mean, the way I looked at it is I got 3 in. I got Jesus, Sterling, and David Silva in 2 weeks ago. I got 35 points in that 1 week from 3 of them. Then I got 4 the next week. So you've got to think of it a bit long term. And I got 39 points over 2 weeks from them. So each one of them is averaging 6.5. I'm happy with that. I know that Jesus is I would expect a little bit more for that price, but I'm happy with a 6.5 average. If I got that every week from Sterling and Silva, I'd be happy. So you've got to think of it like that. Everyone's taken their pick. What you cannot do, though, is think, oh, no, Sterling hasn't played, so I'll get Sané in. Because the next week, Sané won't play, then Sterling will play. And you'll spend all your transfers just hopping on and off various Man City bandwagons.
My tactic on the wildcard was to bring in the 2 players who I thought have the biggest ceiling. So who are the 2 players in the Man City team who I think if I see them in the starting lineup, I think they can get a hat-trick this game. And to me, that was Aguero and Sterling. So even though I did consider De Bruyne and I did consider Silva, to me, they're going to get a couple of assists max. They're safe, but they're going to get a couple of assists. Yeah. Sterling and Aguero, if you see them on the team sheet when Saturday rolls around, you're going to be very confident in returns. So that was my tactic.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the reasons I've steered clear of Otamendi, but I might now go for him, is just that sheer safety. Because I think with a defender, you first rule has to be clean sheets. Will they get them? Yes, Man City players, defenders will. He's not going to score a goal every week. He's probably got 2 or 3 more in him this season, definitely. And he's good for bonus as well, if he can kind of nestle in there with the bonus, because he's so good at passing the ball. I think for me, Jesus is a kind of a holding player because I've still got Lukaku in my sights for game week 12. Manchester United have a great run there, and we know what Lukaku can do against teams. And yes, I know that they did bad. They lost against Huddersfield, but who walked away with at least something from that? It was Lukaku, and that's what he does. And so I think at home against Newcastle and Brighton, I'm fairly certain he's going to get me points there. And I think long term, he's nailed until Ibrahimovic is back. But we'll know when Ibrahimovic is back because his big ponytail will appear on the pitch, and we'll know, right, that's the end of Lukaku because we know Ibrahimovic is here. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about there. And David Silva, I'm happy with. But as you're right, it's not. I mean, I didn't get him. He's a kind of a steady Eddie player. He's actually better away. I'm more hopeful with him against West Brom than I was at home to Burnley. So
you wouldn't captain him though.
But I wouldn't captain him, and I think that for me is the crucial question now. Is I wouldn't captain them. I'm starting to look at the captaincy much more differently. I can live with because I've just wildcarded. My bench is okay, so I can live with Sterling or Jesus being benched. I can live with Jesus coming on for 20 minutes because I know he can do damage in that 20 minutes. Any of them can. I can live with all of that, but I can't live with captaining them with that. So for me, Man City captaincy days are over unless I can get 100%, which we can't get, that Aguero is going to start on a really easy home game, and I don't know if we're going to get that. So
it's like the next level up from Liverpool last year, isn't it? Because they had kind of all the players that started, but you could never predict where the points were coming from. Well, now you can never predict where the points are coming from, and you don't know which ones are going to start. So it's just taking this game to a horrible new level.
Yeah, but it does lead. Yeah, sorry, Andy. Yeah, come on.
I'll just say, I think maybe not so much now that like silver's creeping up in price, but the one thing they've kind of had in their advantage is there's not so much competition around that price. I know we're going to speak about midfield and how there's possibly more options now than there was earlier in the season, but like you didn't mind so much getting Sterling if he was going to miss a couple of games because he was only 8 million. Whereas if you wanted to get someone who was probably going to score as consistently, you were looking at Salah and Eriksen, who were like 1 million, 1.5 million more. Now, for someone like me who hasn't got silver, it's now a bigger question because he's starting to creep up toward, I think he's 8.5 or 8.6 now. And so he's starting to get up to that price anyway. So I have to compare him to like Salah instead. I just don't know, as they get higher in price, if I'm so happy with them missing so many games. And I think it is going to happen. It's just going to get worse over Christmas. I suppose the only thing about that is everybody's going to get rotated, or no one probably. So yeah, I'm really stuck what to do. The captain thing, yes, I won't captain. I feel like I've made a mistake there this week. I've learned from that. I know people are saying in the chat, and people generally say, if you've got Aguero in at 11.5 million, you have to be able to captain him. But I think if I'm happy to captain Kane, which I know I'm flip-flopping a bit on that, but after he scored 2 goals against Liverpool and got the assist, I'm much more happy to do that now at Wembley. I'm not so bothered about bringing in someone like Aguero who I'm not necessarily going to captain, because I'm just going to captain Kane anyway, apart from this week.
Yeah, it kind of leads on really to the next set of questions. Really, it's all about midfielders. So a lot of people are saying, forget this 3 premium strikers malarkey, forget these wing backs, forget all of that, and it's all about midfielders now. There's now proper choice. And there's proper choice across the price ranges. There's good options in the 5.5 million, 6, Ramsey in the 7 million, and then you've got the option, all the ones we've just been mentioning, and you've got the likes of Eriksen and the Liverpool midfielder. So Team Cruel says time to abort the 3 striker policy and invest in midfield instead. Budget options in midfield are delivering. He is correct. Eriksen and Salah are consistent. Well, yeah, pretty much so. And this is another crucial one. We've got some heavy hitters coming in. The big lads are back. Alexis Sanchez and Eden Hazard. They're starting to show some signs of improvement there. Gauza, is it time to ditch the fullbacks, wing-backs, and invest in our midfields? 3-4-3 is looking probably the best bet now, most flexible. For me, I just wanted to talk about one player really before we come to you two, and it's Alexis Sanchez. He's the one that's turning my head. Because he got his first double-digit haul, and he's up against Swansea at home. I had a look at my goals imminent table, so here it is. Big round of applause. Goals imminent's back with new improved expected goals data on it, and Alexis Sanchez is top of that. Last season before, whenever Alexis Sanchez is top of that, he starts on a scoring run. He's already scored. I think there's more to come there. And then you look at team stats as well, defending. So yeah. Swansea, they've only conceded 1 goal away from home, but they're third behind Burnley and Leicester for conceding shots away from home. So that is showing there's a disconnect there, as there was with Harry Kane with his fabulous underlying stats at home and no goals at Wembley. So I think we're seeing that there. So to answer all of those questions, yes, I can now think of lots and lots of midfielders I want, and I can think of less strikers I want and less expensive defenders I want. So my answer is yes, it's time for midfielders, and for me, I'm looking at Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, for me, so like I said, I've not wildcarded yet, but I've started looking at options, and again, it's probably a bit of flip-flopping around, but Morata gets injured, he comes back, didn't look so great. Now I'm starting to think, is Hazard actually the one to get from Chelsea, if anyone, maybe even Pedro. Lukaku has 2 bad games now, probably not going to score. I wouldn't have any, well, I wouldn't say no confidence in him scoring, but it seems unlikely. We kind of know what he does. He's a flat track bully. So playing Spurs and Chelsea is not going to be good for him, although Chelsea obviously former club. So like you say, yes, the striker options I think are starting to get a bit slimmer in who I want. So I've looked at midfielders too. The only thing with Sanchez is he is basically the price of one of those. So you're essentially saying him or Aguero or him or Lukaku, which is fine. The problem I have with it when I've looked at it is the 4.5 million forwards are awful. Like, none of them play. So either you set yourself up with another dud, and if people are already playing a defender who doesn't play, that's then two players on your bench that aren't going to play, or you pay 5 million. So you're having to pay an extra 0.5 million to get that extra midfield slot, so that you've still got a full playing bench. If that makes sense. And I don't know for Sanchez if that's worth it just yet. Plus they've got Man City away, Spurs at home, and Burnley away. So fixture-wise, after Swansea, it's really not great for them. So for me, Sanchez is a wait and see. But unless I start getting kind of more drawn to the forwards again, I'll definitely look at him, because he is just a Lukaku or Aguero at the end of the day. I just think fixtures-wise, we can probably wait on him. I think. Do you think the same as, or are you looking at getting him in?
I've got.
How do you even get him in?
Yeah, I mean, I've got 3 main problems with Sanchez. One of them you mentioned, the fixtures. Swansea at home, great fixture, and then Spurs, Burnley. Who's the other one? City, Spurs, Burnley. I don't really want him for those. Secondly, Arsenal. Let's not forget just how rubbish Arsenal are. Like, okay, they won comfortably against Everton after they went down to 10 men, but if Everton are the only team, apart from Palace, maybe, who are actually worse than Arsenal, I think, okay, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but they're not good, and they don't look right. They lost to Watford. They don't look right under Wenger. And thirdly, and I think the biggest problem with him, and something I noticed at the end of last season, because I went against the grain last season and sold him when he was owned by an absolutely massive amount of people, his attitude. He looks so frustrated all the time. And I know he got within got double-digit points in the last game, but every time he sees a misplaced pass, or every time he makes a run and doesn't spot him, he is so angry. And there's something about the way he's carrying himself now. It just screams to me that he desperately wanted out in the summer, and he's not completely happy playing for Arsenal. So with those things in mind, and his price, and the other options around in strikers and midfield, he's not a consideration for me.
So we'll see what you think in a sec, Johnny. But I'll play devil's advocate a bit here. So yeah, Everton were awful. So part of it is going to be that. But I think that's the first time that Ozil, Sanchez, and Lacazette have all played together. Yeah. So, and we've seen. Yeah, it's been a while, but we have seen Ozil go on a bit of a run where he gets in the box. He's always assisting, it seems, even or at least attempting assists, whether he's playing good or bad. So it's the first time they played together and they absolutely smashed it. Now the problem I do have is, like you said, Everton are awful. They were obviously down to 10 men, so it's hard to draw too much from that. And because of the fixtures, I feel like I can wait. And the thing with Sanchez is he always looks frustrated recently, and same with last season, but he still gets in the points. So I don't know. Yeah. Obviously, you'd rather have a striker who's not frustrated.
Has he lost pens now to Lacazette?
Yeah, I think so. That is
another massive.
Well, I think with me with Sanchez is why I flagged him up. He's not actually a player that I think I'll get for my team, but I flagged him up because people are wildcarding now. Because I think he's the best captaincy shout for this week. I think he's got the best fixture. He's got the best immediate form. As I said, we've got Özil back and smiling, and Lacazette's playing. So you've got the kind of those 3 that he wants. But yeah, the immediate fixtures after it are a problem, and his price is a problem as well. So I feel, I mean, for me personally, we're going to come to Liverpool midfielders. I'll probably for the budget and the way my team's set up, be getting a Liverpool midfielder in. But I have this nagging doubt I'm slumming it slightly, and I think Sanchez is the real deal this week. But yeah, long term, for the next 2 fixtures after it, they're awful. whereas Liverpool have good fixtures there. So
to me, if you're looking for a differential sort of big heavy midfielder, then Hazard is still the pick. 4.9%, and he's looking so sharp. I'm sure some points are coming for him.
I still have the thing about Hazard away. Yes, he did score a few away, well, a couple or two away last season, but he's still, I feel more confident with Hazard at home than away. And that price, again, you kind of want to be captaining them on a good, easy game, which they've just had. To come away from a 4-2 and he just gets an assist, that's not good enough, considering he is now back to what we think is form. So there's still an issue for me with that. So Hazard's still a bit of a wait and see. And yeah, I get it completely with Sanchez long term with those fixtures. I mean, looking at it here, you've got City away, Tottenham, and then at Burnley, and then that Huddersfield game's good at home, but then you've got Manchester United at home. So it's not a great run. But I think for this week, if you're looking for a 1 week punt, if you can afford it, if you've got 2 free transfers to free up some money, because of course once you've got Sanchez in, you can downgrade him to anyone you want. So the following week, you can downgrade him to Eriksen or Ali, for example, one of the Liverpool midfielders, one of the City midfielders, anyone you want. So that's Sanchez gives that flexibility, I think, for those that like taking lots of hits, that don't mind a few transfers. I don't know. I just think he's the best one for game week 10. But
yeah, so I think we're all kind of in agreement with Sanchez. Probably a bit too soon, but maybe looks good this week. Well, I won't disagree that he's probably the best captain option. I do think a Liverpool midfielder, specifically Salah, looks really good this week. And I like to talk about basically him and Eriksen. I don't know if you two own either or both, like me. I know a lot of people have done. Yeah, now for me, a lot of people are looking to get rid. And again, it comes back to the Man City thing, that the Man City midfielders are cheaper. But Eriksen and Salah have just scored points all season. I think they're both averaging more than 6 a game. I know Eriksen is. I'll have to double check Salah, but he's not far away. And I know they're a bit more on the expensive side, but they just get me points. Like, it feels like every other week. It is literally with Eriksen, it's every other week. And while he might not get any score against Man United, I think with the fixtures to come, I've got absolutely no worries that he's going to keep getting the points. But are they too expensive?
I think with Eriksen, there was a slight doubt in his positioning against Liverpool. He played a much deeper role there, and Pochettino, he nailed it. He got the tactics spot on. So if that worked, my fear is Eriksen's going to stay in that kind of more withdrawn role. I think basically I agree with you. He's going to be a consistent scorer all the time, but you have to look at fixtures, and he's the one I'm looking to ditch this week. And I may even get him back again. I've got 2 free transfers, but if you're looking for the next fixture, the next couple of fixtures even, I think Liverpool have the edge in terms of fixtures. And as you've said with Salah, Salah's delivering. And we're going to talk about Liverpool. We'll talk about Harry Kane in a minute, and then we'll come on to Liverpool, because there's another Liverpool midfielder that I think may even be better than Salah. But yeah, should we have a chat about Kane now? I think.
Why not? We do every week, so why change this?
I think we should. Well, this one's a bit different, because this one we go, oh, why is he not scoring against Wembley against these terrible sides? Well, now he has. So now we're fine. Kane's now lovely, and we can just captain him wherever we want. So Koki Smurf asks a devilish question: is 4-5-1 now viable if we're going to captain Kane every week after United? The reason he says that, hastily looking at the fixtures, is after Manchester United they have Crystal Palace at home, Arsenal away, West Brom at home, Leicester away, Watford away. We know he's great away, and now we know he's good at home as well. So yeah, I pretty much would be. I've got Kane captaincy locked on after Manchester United. And yeah, Tokyo Rising Sun, the 2 Wembley games in which Kane scored, he noted that Spurs' possession was much lower. It was in the mid-30s. So he feels that we could be looking at a pattern here. It could be like a Dembele theory. This could be the possession theory. So at Wembley, when Kane is against teams that are getting a lot of possession, like Dortmund or Liverpool, he's thriving on those counter-attacks. But when he's playing against the side, they're kind of soaking up pressure a bit and letting Spurs dominate that possession, well, he can't get a look in, because it's just not tailor-made to that type of game. I think he's tailor-made to any game, really. He's a great striker, but it could be a pattern emerging there. So Tokyo Rising Sun might have that there. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what you think about this as about Kane. I mean, is he now the reliable captain choice? And I guess he's essential, because there's still 50, 60% of the teams that don't actually own him.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're playing at, but yeah, what should they do?
I know. Well, to me, as I keep saying, I was so close to selling him, and I'd be on this Scoutcast now, just so angry at myself if I had. But yeah, luckily I didn't. But the problem is that he still hasn't performed at home in a game against one of these sides who just sit back and defend. Liverpool had, the majority of possession, and there's a few things going around saying, he does better in those sorts of games when they hit them on the counter. I want to see him against Palace. I mean, I'm going to hand him the captaincy against Palace. I think everyone in their right mind is going to hand him the captaincy against Palace because he could just go absolutely berserk because they're awful. But at the same time, there's still a part of me that thinks if they put 11 men in the box, is he going to struggle again to kind of get through? But I think it's just one of those decisions. And what I kind of realised when I saw him scoring all those goals is you have to make a lot of decisions in fantasy football. You have to, you can choose whether to get Richarlison or Gross, and you can choose what defenders to get and all that. But I just think for your own sanity, just get Kane in, because he's going to get goals and he gives you a great captaincy option. And if he doesn't score, there's going to be millions of other people that didn't get any captaincy score with him. And I just think he is the best player this year to own, despite the kind of occasional blanks and the problems and stuff. He's high ownership. His shots are ridiculous. He's on penalties, free kicks, playing for an attacking team, nailed on. There's so many perks to him, and I just think just get him and enjoy him before he goes to Real Madrid.
Yeah, and I think if Luke was here, he would be saying exactly the same thing. He's been the top goal scorer the last 2 seasons. There's no reason why that won't happen again. You basically just got to set and forget that captain. You're not going to nail it every week. But there's a chance, and I was close to getting rid of him. In the end, the reason I didn't is because I thought all it's going to take is 1 goal against Liverpool. He could have got 6 points, and I would have wanted him straight back because I would have felt like that was the catalyst for more goals. And I don't necessarily expect him to get much this week. I can't believe I'm saying this, but if Phil Jones plays, which looks likely, then I think we could get a clean sheet against Spurs, even though they're the better attacking side. But after that, I think it's a free-for-all. And yes, we're still yet to see him score against a weaker team at home or at Wembley. But I just feel like he's too good and Spurs are just too good in general. And I think one of the keys against Liverpool is Son played. I don't think he's played that many games this season. I think Sissoko's played a few. I think Sissoko's awful. I think he just stops any Spurs attacks, whereas I think Son's just a different player altogether and much better. So hopefully that'll carry on. And also, I don't think Spurs have had a penalty this season yet, have they? And he's always had that in his locker. I think he got 6 or 7 last year. So that's coming. And do you know what I mean? Like getting a dodgy penalty here or there for actual football analysis, whatever. Okay, fair enough. You might think you can't keep it up, but we don't care FPL wise. That's 4 points to us. So I think he go on.
So I'm not too sure about the kind of. I think owning him is a given, but I'm still not 100% sure about just leaving the captaincy on him. I know he can get goals against anyone. He proved that against Liverpool when I wasn't considering him at all, and all the other games this season where I haven't captained him. But he's playing United this week away. It doesn't get much harder than that. It's a shame that other teams don't have a particularly easy game. I'm looking at players like Morata. I'm looking at Salah. I'm looking at Richarlison even at home to Stoke, although we're going to come on to him later, so maybe not Richarlison at home. But yeah, I think the captaincy is still fun. It's still fun to have a play with it. But if you're not 100% sure, he does give you that option to fall back to, which is always useful. But I wouldn't say captain him every week because
I think just to make it clear before we start getting told about this. So I think yes, I won't captain him this week. So it's not set and forget from now onwards. It's set and forget after the Man United game. And of course, I won't captain him every week. There will be, for instance, when he plays Arsenal away. Yes, I know he's good in North London derbies, but I'll be looking at maybe Lukaku against Newcastle that same week. So it's not an absolute guarantee I captain him every week, but I think I've got enough faith in him again, and maybe this will only last a week or two. But to just set it on him, and like you say, when you're not sure about someone, he's the one that gets you. And last year for me, that person was Sanchez. If I wasn't sure, it just went on Sanchez. If there was a tussle between him and a striker, it always went on Sanchez. But this year, I don't have that, at least at the moment. So, yeah, is it the same for you, John T?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I like about him is because it's that kind of faith in underlying stats. And the problem I had last year is look at all these stats, and then Ibrahimovic comes along, blazes a trail of amazing underlying stats and does absolutely nothing for about 7 game weeks. No one could work out why. I was starting to get worried about Kane. He was doing these amazing stats. But I'm just looking at it in terms of at the moment. This is why I think Kane has to be a given. I'm not going to say the word essential, just a given. In that, not just all the goals he's scored, but in terms of goal attempts, he's had 57. And then so you're looking at the next nearest bunch really is Salah with 31, Lukaku with 34, Aguero 27. So 57. That's a massive drop off. And then he's got those 8 goals as well. He's top for shots on target. So that's the key bit, really. And he's top for shots in the box. He's top for all of them. But he's miles ahead.
Ranking at home against teams like Swansea.
But now he hasn't. And I don't know whether this is something the stats can't tell, whether it is something psychological. Why is Harry Kane not scoring in August? That is just odd. It's just absolutely bizarre.
I looked at the home games, and for big chances before the weekend, he'd only had 2, I think. And there was plenty of other players on that list who, like, we wouldn't even be considering for our teams that had like 5 or 6 from what I remember. So I don't know whether they're just taking a bit of time to get used to Wembley. Maybe it really is a thing. I saw an interview with Ali like a few weeks ago, and I think he just got asked what it was like playing at Wembley, and even he said, like, we're having to adjust. It's a bit bigger. We're practicing and training and stuff. So it obviously, I mean, to me, like, I think some of them are world class professional footballers. Surely a bit of extra grass is fine, but maybe it does take more of its toll. Maybe they're trying to get used to it. So maybe that was really a thing, and they're finally getting there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had a similar interview. Heard a similar interview with Antonio about West Ham at the London Stadium last season, and he was saying very similar things. Really, they were used to playing a particular style. He personally was used to playing a particular style on the wing, and that extra space. It just threw him, really. And, he was still a good effective, but he was nowhere near as effective as he was that season before. And I think that's the same we're seeing with the whole play, the whole wing play as well with Spurs. And they're just getting used to it. And I think they really got used to it against Liverpool. So there's more there. But speaking of Liverpool, we said we're going to mention them. So Crow Jesus, he just comes straight out with it. Coutinho or Salah. And then Shake and Bake asks, should we consider Moreno as a cheap defender option, given Liverpool's upcoming fixtures? Or are we still concerned about Robertson? Robertson's fallen down that same well that Lamella's been stuck down for the last year. I don't know where he's gone off the face of the earth. But, I mean, I've had a look at the stats behind it as well. Now, for me, it's just Coutinho or Salah. It's one of those two. And I would love to have both of them this week. I think they're both great. And we know why Salah's great, because over the last 4 game weeks, he's had 10 shots in the box, and Coutinho's had 2. So he's the guy that's straight ahead. He's the guy that's going to be in the box, a really dangerous position. He's going to be shooting a lot. But Coutinho is shooting a lot as well, lots from outside the box as well. But he's creating chances as well, and he's doing really well for baseline bonus as well. So you've got the triple hit with Coutinho. You've got bonus, you've got assists, and he's getting goals as well. And I remember owning it. Well, the times I've owned him over the last couple, as soon as they say it's a free kick to Liverpool, Coutinho's going to take it, I just think goal. And pretty much every time it was. So I kind of like owning a player like that. And it's quite nice captaining a player like that as well. So for me, it's those two. I can't actually decide. And I think I may go for Salah simply because if I think there's going to be more goals, I think he's going to score more, because he's in those more dangerous positions. But I do like Coutinho. I just think he's such a good player, and he's a great fantasy player as well.
Yeah, I'll go next because I love Salah, and I want to talk about him. I think it is probably quite close, like you say, and my opinion is probably a little bit swayed because I've had Salah since the start. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. When I watch the games, he's always getting chances. Now, he does fluff them half the time, maybe even more than half the time. But he's getting so many that it almost doesn't matter because at least one's going to go in. And I just feel that soon he's going to convert a couple or get an assist and convert a couple, and he's going to get a big score. I just think it's coming. I think he's too good, and Liverpool are too good attacking for that not to happen. And for me, he'll be my captain this week, I think. I think he's only scored, I think he got a goal and assist in one of the earlier games. So he can do it. He's got double-figure hauls twice at least already this season. Coutinho is probably going to be, I know it's cliche to say, I almost see like this is a bit like maybe Eriksen and Ali from last year, that Coutinho is going to pick up like an assist and get bonus, whereas Salah we're going to have to wait for those goals. But he's shown he can do that. And the speed he's got is insane. Like the defenders he beats and how quickly he does it just gets him into the positions. Now, the final ball is a problem. I think if he was a bit more quality on that final ball, that final pass, then he'd be in the points even more. But if he's doing all this and fluffing so many chances, and maybe this is confirmation bias talking, then I just think that sooner or later he's going to convert a couple of those chances or make that final pass a bit more often, and get the ball to Firmino, Coutinho, and they'll start converting the points. So for me, I'm going to stick with Salah. The fact their prices are very close now, I think I still would. If there was a difference of, say, 0.3, 0.4 million, then it's a different conversation. I think there's only 0.1 million difference now. So if you're picking one, I think it becomes a bit harder. But you like Salah too, right, Az? Would you switch if you could?
Well,
you just wildcard. Right?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to, and I was debating it. I put a poll out on Twitter, and most people kind of said Salah, so he does seem to be the popular one. I just think you're paying 9.1 million for a Liverpool striker who plays in midfield, because he just, like, Coutinho has the kind of role of he sits back a bit, he sprays the ball around, he looks very fancy, dribbles past a few players, but Salah's the one most of the time on the kind of end of it. I think Firmino's kind of died off as an option. I've seen a few people thinking about getting him back, but I don't know why you'd go there. I think it's just a lack of less than 10 mil strikers, probably people trying to cover some points. I don't think he's that good an option. But you watch Liverpool, and as a football fan, Liverpool are the best team to watch because they're comical at the back. So you can expect a 4-all game every. You watch City, okay, they're the best attacking team in the world, but they're going to win 4-0. It's boring. There's no challenge. Liverpool, they can score 4, they can concede 6. It's amazing to watch. And when you're watching an exciting game like that, and you own more than likely the most attacking player on the pitch, it just makes for a really, really exciting game. And he is. I completely agree with you. He's missing chances, but my God, is he getting in positions where he can score? He's great. I really, really rate him.
When I was looking at the shots on target as well, and it's almost like a bit of. I think people are seeing Salah miss a few and just assume that that's what he's like all the time. And Coutinho's very accurate, but they both actually got the same amount of shots on target, which is 5 over the last 4 game weeks. Coutinho's had more attempts. So actually, Salah is more accurate on current form as well. And as for Firmino, well, he's down there with 1 shot on target in the last 4. That's awful. He's got the same amounts of shots on target as James Milner and Matip and Henderson.
Wow.
So that's rubbish. I mean, I'm not going to mince my words. Firmino is rubbish. That'll come back to me now. He's going to score like he did this time last season on me. He's going to score. He's going to score a brace. But on current evidence, I wouldn't go in anywhere near Firmino. It's all about Salah or Coutinho.
Yeah, I think I'm probably one of the ones I was referring to with Firmino. I have thought about going back there because I thought he looked okay against United, but then against Spurs he was awful again. So I don't know. I think I'd rather have that spot in midfield instead. But let's stick to Liverpool a sec because I want to talk about Moreno because I love this guy. I once actually, I didn't speak to him. But I kind of helped him out with something once. I'll leave it at that. So I've got a soft spot for him ever since I watched. I think it was a couple of seasons ago. I think he scored against Spurs. Played left back. He was super attacking. Not quite Alonso level, but he was as he does. He wasn't defending, that's for sure. Now, to be fair to him, he's got a bit better at that this season, I think. But I've got a bit of a soft spot for him. I've got to watch what I say because I think Apple Bonkers still tunes into this every week and he loves him. But I think he's doing all right. And Liverpool, I think, have been okay defensively at home, but away is a whole different story. I think I saw that they've now conceded the most amount of goals away from home, like even more than Crystal Palace this year, who've been truly awful. So away from home is not an option. But as a short-term pick, like for someone who's still got their wild card, I have thought about bringing him in this week against Huddersfield. But I know that short term. I don't think I want him long term. I don't know. What do you guys think? I guess they're a no-go.
You'll get stuck with him. That's what happened to me with Lovren last year. I got stuck with him for like 10 weeks.
It's like Mark with his Terence Trent derby. Once you get a Liverpool player in, and then you a Liverpool defender in, and you realise how absolutely diabolical they are, and how much they stink up your team forever. It's just a nightmare. So you just want to get rid of them. So as soon as you get them in, you want to get them out again. And if they're not going to be rotated, so there's still Robertson somewhere. I don't know if he's been kept in a dungeon somewhere, but he's going to be unleashed and freed at some point. And Moreno, for me, he's in a way his big thing was that speed, and you thought, wow, this is a great kind of wing back type player. But it didn't have that final product really. So but what's happened is he's really not getting as far forward as he ought to. He's not actually attempting at all. So he's now become a kind of Marino light, really. So all you're going to get is the possibility of a clean sheet, and then that's going to only be at home as well. And yeah, he's only 4.5, so he is what he's a good price. He's a really good price as well. But I've noticed that Gomez is getting much more bonus than him. So I think if I was looking at two of them, I'd probably go for Gomez. Yes, he's up against Terence Trent Derby, but we all know how rubbish he is. So I think Gomez would be the one I'd possibly get, but I wouldn't go anywhere near Liverpool defender, and that's through many years of playing fantasy football. They have never, they just don't work for me.
I think
they're now the worst.
Yeah, I think this is a classic case of Moreno in particular, of someone who I genuinely would consider bringing him into my team, and I may still do it, but I would never advocate or advise anyone else to do it. One of those type of players. So yeah, we'll leave it there. I think
that tells you something, Andy.
Yeah, no, I know, but sometimes you just got to do it in fantasy. You got to just get that odd player and hope it goes well. When it doesn't, you moan about it on the next Scoutcast. So perfect, really. So let's move on from Liverpool. Talked about them enough. I think we're talking about Watford next.
We are. Yes. Jacket Potato asks, can Watford keep up this good form? They've been doing very well recently. FPL Virgin asks, with just 6 shots on target all season, are we concerned about Richarlison's shot accuracy? Well, yeah, that doesn't sound too good. And Kiwi Villain, his home stats are appalling, he says. 90%, I haven't verified this, 90% attacking stats in away matches. He's got no bonus in a game he scored an assist in. So he's owned him since game before. He seems quite bitter, actually, about this. So I've had a little look at the home and away thing. So I wanted to see, what is this? Because Richarlison's a player that I've started to consider playing at Stoke. Sounds good. And I had a look. This home and away thing's real, you know. It's really quite worrying. So at home, he's really not very good at all. He's averaging 4 penalty touches a game. It's okay. But away, he's averaging 9.6 a game. That's huge. And minutes, he's scoring. He's averaging 4.4 actually goal attempts and only 2.5 goal attempts at home. So away, he's pretty much, you go through all of these stats, he's pretty much double the player that he is. So looking at so bearing that in mind, looking at the fixtures, you've got Stoke at home. Sounds good, but looking at those stats, you're not going to get away Richarlison for that. And then he's away at Everton. Well, that's a good one. And then at home at West Ham, okay, that could be good. Then Newcastle away. See, it's those Everton and Newcastle games. That's the ones I'd be targeting. And then a nightmare run carries on. He's at home, where we know he's not very good, against Manchester United and Tottenham, two of the best defences in the Premier League. So if you're going to get him in now, because I think you've got a 4-match window of Richarlison action. And of those, looking at current form, he might nick something at home, but it's away. He could be really good. So if you're thinking of captaining him this week, it could be a bit risky. Captain him away to Everton or Newcastle, well, maybe.
The only thing is with it, because when you start talking about it, I just had a look at the fixtures they've played. And so they've played Liverpool at home, Brighton at home, which was 0-0, Man City at home and Arsenal at home. So they've been quite tough fixtures, although they did score 3 goals in the Liverpool game. So obviously it wasn't...
and beat Arsenal.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is they scored 3 goals and you only got an assist, but still he got points there. So I don't know about the home fixtures when they've been that poor so far. I mean, not scoring a goal against Brighton, he didn't play in that game actually. So he's actually only played in 3 games then, and they've all been tough. So I don't know. The thing is, all of
the stats I've put are from when he started playing, so they don't discount those early ones.
Yeah, no, definitely. But that's what I'm saying. He's only played in 3 home games, and they've all been tough. So I wonder if that will start to regress maybe as the easier ones come in, possibly. This guy's been on. I've got a few tables, not as good as yours. No great goals imminent table, but I've got a couple of my own tables that I use. And one of them is midfield attackers, and he's been up there like most of the season. And it's just never someone I bought in. I didn't get him a few weeks ago because he had bad fixtures, and obviously he's done okay in the last couple. But I just think, and again, I'm talking about wildcard. On the wildcard, I think I'd bring him in for sure. If I don't wildcard, then I've got to drop someone like Sterling to get him in realistically. And I don't think that's going to happen necessarily. But I really like him. Shot accuracy, okay, it's not great, but we're not paying 9.5 million for him, even 8 million. He's only 6.3. So I think I can forgo that. I think Watford have looked pretty good. yes, they're not seeing matches through necessarily. They were obviously up against Chelsea, looking good, and then Chelsea came back. But again, like you've said before, Johnny, we don't really care about that. We only care about the points they get. They don't care if they win or lose. So I think, and I quite like Silva as well. I think he was a good manager last year. Maybe a bit unlucky not to bring Hull up, and maybe even defensively, I'm looking at them as well as getting Richarlison in for these home fixtures. I don't know if you think they get. I know they've not been keeping too many clean sheets, but I wonder if that's about to start happening.
I mean, I think the thing with Richarlison is, yes, his home fixtures have been tough, arguably with Brighton. Okay, they're down to 10 men, but nevertheless, it is Brighton. But then he's away to Chelsea, and he's like, wow. So Chelsea that's meant to be a hard fixture. That's what I mean. It's just in terms of what's a hard and what's an easy fixture. And all we can do is what we go on. And he's just looking a bit better against the easier sides away. We don't know yet, but I think, as I said at the beginning, if you're going to get him in for this 4. Yeah, definitely. This is the time to find out whether he can do it on a cold, windy Saturday afternoon against Stoke in Hertfordshire.
A good point someone made in the chat, and I remembered, was when, again, he didn't play the Liverpool game, or he played limited minutes in the Liverpool game. So that was their first match at home. Against Brighton, they went down to 10 men, so that can affect his output. And then he had City and Arsenal, and in the Arsenal, they got battered 6-0 by City, and then they beat Arsenal when he got an assist. So if you look at it like that, I know his stats aren't too good, but it's not too bad. I love Richarlison, and this is going to be me with massive pile on my face over the next few weeks. My advice to anyone listening is get him in for the next couple of games, because I am sure that he is going to explode in one of these games. He could have had 15, 20 points against Chelsea. He was just, I mean, his miss was one of the most depressing things I've ever seen watching football over the years. I literally, the ball came across, I jumped up to celebrate because I saw him there, and then he missed.
But doesn't that show the kind of, in a way, that's great that he's in that position, but he missed it. So I think what can happen with these kind of 5, 6 million, even 7 million midfielders is that we can start getting a bit carried away. And Richarlison, I think, has morphed somehow into Pele over the last couple of weeks.
Oh, I'm carried away, but I've been watching him. I've been watching him.
Like little kind of big hearts in your eyes when you're talking about him.
He's just so good. He's just clearly so good, and the misses aren't. He's not going to miss. He will do that miss 100 times and not miss it. He's going to get chances like that again. He's going to score them. He's going to beat 3 players and score a Neymar-esque curler into the corner one of these weeks. And yeah, I
mean, you're starting to convince me.
From watching him, and the eye test, he absolutely blitzes the eye test, and for 6.2 million.
Yeah.
I just think he's.
Yeah, I must admit, you are wooing me with you're waving a Richarlison at me, and I'm being wooed. I'm definitely being wooed.
It's the magic beans, John-T.
He's a magic bean.
He's a magic bean.
But you're telling me he's a beanstalk. He's already there. He's up there. He's up there in the clouds.
He's not quite there, but he's going to get there.
Yeah, when I thought he hadn't played against Brighton, I'll be honest, I was actually I was just checking what home fixtures Watford had played to. Actually had Holobas up, not Richarlison. So that's my bad. But yeah, still he's played hard fixtures. I think, and we've been talking about this since the start of the season. Where's the next Mahrez? Where's the next King? Do we not think he could be it? Now, yes, we're probably a little bit ahead of ourselves. We obviously don't know for sure. But so far, he looks, I think, like probably the best. Now, Gross, to be fair, is doing well, 5.5. I think Choupo-Moting,
my boy,
Choupo-Moting is probably flattered to deceive so far. He's done okay, but I don't think he's going to be the one. Richarlison, though, I've got my eye on him. Young Brazilian. What's not? I said this last week. What's not to like? No, Josh King, no.
Well, it's just the fact that we'll see. This is the 4 games to get him in. If I get him in, it will be for these 4 games, definitely. And I mean, this is the absolute ideal time. This is Richarlison time, and but I don't fancy chances for the games after that, definitely. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he's cheap. I mean, I am getting wooed. I'm just getting carried along in it. It's like a Brazilian carnival parade that I've been caught up in. And I'm just being dragged along.
I think there's going to be a lot of Sterling to Richarlison moves this week.
That's what my wildcard move would be, probably.
Yeah. And Sterling's played 120 minutes against tonight, as has Aguero. Not again. He's played 120 minutes. And Aguero.
I must admit, one of the things I looked at when I was looking at, because if I took a hit this week, is upgrading Loftus-Cheek, the Magic Bean himself, to an actual proper player. And Richarlison is on my radar there, as is Gross, for his just sheer unbelievable consistency. And so, yeah, it is. I don't know. This is one of those examples where, I've come in here with my big book of stats, and then you just come out with the romance of football, and I'm being carried along by it.
I think you mentioned captaincy earlier, as I think that for me that's probably a step too far. But
what options are there this week?
Salah.
You've got Salah, but they struggle against these sort of rubbish teams like Huddersfield. They've just come off the back of a big win. You got Richarlison against Stoke. I mean, Stoke are terrible.
Stoke are terrible. Yeah, I'll give you that.
I've been saying that a lot today. I've got it in for a lot of these teams, but I think Richarlison's as good a shout as any. I think if I've got to put my money where my mouth is. If I think a big haul's coming for him, then maybe I should captain him to get on it.
Fair point. Okay, well, we'll leave it there. As is captaining Richarlison this week. You heard it here first. I think we're out of questions, and we are moving on to the weekend preview.
Yeah. So I think let's go for some clean sheets then. Az, you fire away first. Where do you think the clean sheet's going to come this week?
That's a good question. I didn't actually prepare this. I'm doing a Granville. Oh no. Yeah, it's tough. I don't think there's many clean sheets around at the moment. So it's quite tough. I mean, United with Jones could potentially keep Spurs out because he loves parking the bus. So I'll go with the reverse of that. I think Mourinho's going to park the bus, and I don't think United will be able to score against Tottenham. So I'll pick Tottenham.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's probably I think that could be 0-0 for sure. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. I'll take the next pick. I'm going to go with. Do I think Mourinho will get a clean sheet that much? I'm going to take Arsenal against Swansea. I still don't think Swansea have got enough in attack. And I think Arsenal definite clean sheet there for me.
I'm going to go for Burnley, home to Newcastle. Burnley at home, and it's Monday night. I know we shouldn't talk about the timing of the matches, but I quite like going into the Monday night, which is traditionally a really dire, boring fixture. Burnley against Newcastle is pretty dire, and that's got 0-0 written all over it, or 1-0, and someone like, I don't know. Well, hopefully my man Ward at the back scoring. But yeah, I think that's going to be 1-0, 2-0 to Burnley, 0-0, something like that. But definitely Burnley. Yeah,
and I think that's a good chat. And again, to talk about wildcards, I will probably, if I do it, double up on Burnley defence, I think.
Do you think you will do it?
Sorry?
Do you think you will do it?
Double up on Burnley defence?
No, wildcard.
We'll talk about that in a sec. Let's do Fantasy Island Risk. And Johnny, you can go first.
Well, yeah, so I just want to say, so Mark can't be here, but he did tell us some of what he would have said if he was here. And his fantasy island was someone I was actually going to go for, it was Scott Dan. I just think that Crystal Palace is starting to get very much back to basics and looking at corners, crosses, and trying to find a head to get a goal in on. And I think the combination of Cabaye on corners and Dan's head is going to collide at some point soon, and I think against West Ham. So I agree with Mark there. Mark's gone for Dan. I'm going to go for the guy that's going to assist him. Goodbye.
And I'm also stupidly going for Crystal Palace as well. I lined this up before I even knew what you two were going for. So I'm going to go for Van Arnold. I can't remember if it was this weekend or the weekend before he nearly scored. Should have scored probably. I know back in Crystal, they got absolutely tanked by Bristol City tonight. I know it was a changed team. I think they lost 4 or 5-1. But let's hope they can do it in the league now. Obviously, Zaha and stuff's back. So I'm going to go for Van Arnold, older, attacking favourite defender, and hopefully clean sheet and a goal for him. How about you, Az? Surely we're not tripling up or quadrupling up on Palace.
No, I would never pick a Palace player. Come on, you know me, especially with the form they were in. It's a tough one. I'm going to go for Gylfi. I think Gylfi Sigurdsson. They've sacked Koeman, who I think was a bit of a plague on that club this season. I don't think the way he handled the Nias situation paints him in a particularly good light either. So I'm pretty glad to see the back of him. And hopefully the caretaker manager will come in and put Sigurdsson in his favoured number 10 role. And they might pick up some points and become an option again, because he's one of our favourite players, and it's such a shame he's just not delivered anything since he signed for them, because we all thought once they came out of the tough run of games he'd be a strong pick, and it hasn't turned out like that.
Yeah, I wonder if someone like Barkley is suddenly going to come out of the woodwork now, and I don't know what happened there. It sounded like he was going. He's still at the club, and I don't know. I think I'm still wary of Everton because of just who they've bought. There's just like no pace in that team. They got a bunch of number 10s for striker, but against Leicester, who've also lost their manager, I think Sigurdsson's a good pick. So we'll see how that comes through. I'll do my moves last. I want to talk about my wildcard very briefly. So, Az, do you want to let us know your transfers and captain choice? Richarlison, obviously, we already know.
Yeah, just a quick shout out to Pascal Gross, who, you know, he's now been kind of replaced as my dreamboat signing, but he's still there, ticking over with the points. So instrumental to everything Brighton do. You know, still a great option. Yeah, my transfer. So I like to save a transfer after a wild card, which is similar to what Jonty did. I think it gives you a bit of flexibility to move things around. Jones looks like he's all right now. He made the bench. I'm not sure if he came on. Probably, I doubt it. But yeah, so he's fit. So that gives me a bit of leeway. I really regret getting Fernandes though. I don't know what I was thinking. That was a last minute change of Dunk to Fernandes, and it cost me 7 points straight away. And so I'm half tempted just to bring Dunk or Duffy in, maybe ride the Duffy the Duffy luck train, and enjoy the points with that. That's pretty hard to say.
That almost went terribly wrong.
It did, didn't it? It could have got a lot worse. Yeah, so it's either going to be Fernandes to Duffy, or Dunk, or nothing. And captain will either be Salah or Richarlison, and I feel like I can't possibly ever come back on the Scoutcast again if I don't captain Richarlison. So it'll probably be him.
Nice. And Jonty?
Well, it's slightly undecided. I've got 2 free transfers. I want to shift some more money into midfield. I've got Davis, who long term, I don't think I would play him this week, and I don't really want him long term. So I want to downgrade him. And I definitely want Salah or Coutinho to captain this week. So Eriksen, I think, is going to go for a week, possibly 2 weeks, maybe get him back in again. And I'll get Salah in for him, Salah or Coutinho in for him, and maybe use the other 3 to downgrade to Duffy, downgrade Davis to Duffy, I think. And you're starting to woo me with Richarlison, so then I'll have some money left over. I'll have a massive Loftus cheap-shaped annoyance in my team, which could be a proper player. So I'm tempted by that. I think I might bet I'd just be able to do that as well without any price rises. So I'll shut up about Richarlison. so I don't want anyone to buy him in that case.
So you're essentially going to captain whichever Liverpool mid you bring in?
I think I'll get a Liverpool mid in. Mark tells us that he is also interested in very similar moves, actually. He wants to get Dunk in for Cedric, and Richarlison, he's a big fan of Richarlison as well, in for Carroll. So he's going to get a hit there. That's what he tells us he's going to be doing. So he's got a similar idea there. He's spotted that there's more value in midfield, perhaps, and he wants to captain Kane because he's seen enough. He's just going to captain Kane forever, probably.
Wow, captain Kane against Phil Jones. That's just impossible goals there. Yeah, I won't drag this on. There could be another hour talking about my team. Basically, I've got 2 free transfers as well. I've got a defence consisting of a bunch of players. If I wildcarded right now, I'd probably swap all 5 of them, apart from maybe Jones. But I've got 2 free transfers, and I don't like the thought of using the wildcard when I've got both of them. I've got Sterling and Jesus. They're now a problem. Sterling's played 120 minutes tonight. Is he going to play? The thing is, if I wildcard, I would get Aguero in, and I'd drop both of them, and that could easily backfire. I'd also drop Vardy, which could backfire. So I think I'm not going to wildcard. Who do I bring in? I don't know. I think if Davis plays, and I think there's a good chance he plays, because I think the reason he didn't play against Liverpool was because of the worry about Salah and him not being able to mark him. But Man United don't really have that kind of speedy winger to worry about. So I think Davis will probably play. And if that's going to be 0-0, then having Jones and Davis is not as bad as it sounds. And if Sutton's going to play the home games, he's got Southampton, which don't really score too many goals. So I've gone from almost raging a wild card on the weekend to maybe not even having to make a transfer. So I'm probably going to make a defensive change somewhere. I just don't know what it is. And my captain is... I'll look to bring in Richarlison if I can. And my captain is going to be Salah. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to wildcard after all. I don't know when the hell I'm going to use it at this point.
No, I think you're right. I looked at your team, and because also Eric Bailly looks like he's back as well for this weekend as well. So that looks like could be a clean sheet there for Manchester United. So Jones back, David. Yeah, and as I said about Sutton, there seems to be a thing, as we'll probably back this up as well, Houghton had this thing about home and away, and he definitely had different sides, particularly on the wings as well. I think was it Scalak he favoured for the more defensive displays away from home. And he clearly likes what Bong is doing in that regard.
I thought it'd be Bruno who kind of rotated more out of the fullback.
Yeah,
He's getting on a bit, and
I think it's the organisation and just the general football knowledge of Bruno he favours. And Bruno he's an intelligent player, and I think he wanted him in. But definitely, I think Sutton's probably safe. I think pretty much safe at home. So Sutton owners, don't panic just yet. But long term, yeah, he's got to go.
I find that a bit weird. Like, I can see why Pochettino rotates his fullbacks because of the work they put in. But to rotate someone because you don't just trust them away, that just seems weird to me. But
well, I think he just feels that certain players are better defensively. Is Quiedo, the Colombian they bought for the wing?
Yeah.
He's super quick, but he's favouring him in the tougher away games, which you think it would be like kind of the other way around. You think unleash him against the easy home sides, but he's not going that way. So that seems to be what's happening. It's exactly the same down that wing. It was Bong, Izquierdo against Arsenal, same against West Ham away. I think you could. Well, that's looking like a trend now, definitely.
Cool, and I'm just going to assume you're pronouncing that winger's name right because I don't have a clue.
I was very impressed, but I've no idea if it's right either.
I'm hoping.
We need Mark here to confirm.
I'm well known for my fabulous pronunciation.
Exactly, that's why I brought it up.
Don't ask me to say Palace's penalty taker either. So,
or that female singer playing for Stoke. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I think it should all be back to normal, pending any more cat-related injuries next week. Mark should be back. Maybe Granville, we'll have to wait and see if he gets a good score. And Luke, he might be on too. I don't know what's happening next week. You'll find out next week.
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. We'll leave it there. It's good night from me.
Good night from me.
Good night.
Good night, all.